Something is massive building in cryptocurrency, but no one's really talking about it that much. It's not Ethereum, it's not Solana, it's not XRP, it's something a lot older and somehow a lot more explosive. Now I want to show you exactly what is happening, why the developments are important, and why there is serious upside to this ecosystem. And if you've been long enough in the cryptocurrency market, you'll know why this will relate to you more than anything. You'll feel the energy. Now, if you want the next cryptocurrency boom, press the like button. I think it's already starting. Now, ecosystem pumps are important. Let me take you back a little bit. 2020, we had Ethereum going crazy. Okay. Now, these are niche bull markets. They happen within your ecosystem. They are very, very important because you tend to get, as you can imagine here, DeFi summer. Chainlink went crazy. And then what we also had, not long after realistically in the prior cycle, kind of somewhat at the start and also during this one, was Solana. Insane speed, insane risk, craziness, and more importantly, that kind of interoperable element around Phantom Wallet and other wallets where it was very, very easy to swap around your assets, so to speak, and use Solana, which is why it got the jump for quite a while. Now, as I alluded to it, Chainlink was one of those that really, really prospered in the Ethereum jump. Now, I'm going to say this once and once only. There's something that's happening right now, and it is very different, but it's very much the same, if that makes sense, because it's been built on Bitcoin itself. Now, before we go on, I'm going to talk about why the narrative has shifted, so to speak, why Bitcoin isn't so much digital gold anymore. It's a bit more of a layer, which is important. Risk management is key here. What I'm going to talk about is pretty risky and pretty much hopium, quite a bit of it, but there's a lot of elements to this which does relate back to the past and why emerging markets and new markets could do very, very well. Now, firstly, follow this account. Leonardus, brilliant for information and the main driver of Dog. If you are a part of Dog, comment please. I would like to see from you. But the reason being, this is an army of a community element. And the community side of any meme coin is the most important thing. Remember, Bitcoin is still a meme, so to speak. Remember how that kind of created through the community? Look what's happening. We're reinventing the wheel. And probably a lot more. Now, you can see here, there is 0 tier 1 centralized exchange listings for Dog, but it is a very, very active word. If you put it into X and you are looking for the data, it is mental versus everything else. It's at the time of this post, it's 538 million markup. Crazy. So what this is basically telling us, in so to speak, is Bitcoin is being used no longer as a store of value, but technically it could become a settlement layer for meme coins, NFTs, degens, etc. Because this is where it's going. Just think of how Ethereum started. Just think of Solana. Bitcoin next. And now we have decentralized market making. We have the swaps, no longer runes on lots, so to speak, coming soon, which will be important. And that again will make it even better. And you can even see the post here. DeFi Bitcoin is coming. And this is the point. Things are changing. Now, the biggest downside I will say to all of this kind of runes, and I know people are going to say it in the comments, some people in Bitcoin don't like to speculate. That's why they buy Bitcoin. But there is some that do. There's quite a lot actually that do. And the thing is, there's a lot of money in Bitcoin. But people want to make more Bitcoin. They want to provide services with liquidity, for example. And it's just getting started. And that's very, very important. And we can talk about the prior cycles like on this post here. It's easy to see a 10 to 20x in the Rune ecosystem in the next weeks or months. It's because it's happened before. Stick around, I'll show you why. Because it's important. And with proper attention and even 1 or 2 centralized exchange listings for a couple of these, they will pop off because there's a community behind them. They just need exposure. And the thing is, they've been built over a year now, most of these, which is important. Now, we could talk about Magic Internet Money, which is relatively new as a rune. We could talk about, the fact that that is an iconic meme. We could talk about Pubs and how Pubs is a massive ecosystem on its own. Billy is a very iconic one. And then you got Dog. But at the end of the day, Dog is probably going to be the one that drives it all because it's got the Kraken listing, which is obviously here. Now, if you're in the ecosystem of cryptocurrency and you've been around the Rune ecosystem, you'll know that Kraken have been milking it quite a bit. But they are going to be listing Dog. very, very soon. And we talk about the math, and we talk about the fact that this is a situation. There's not many obvious picks, and I'll go through my obvious picks in a minute for these runes, so to speak. But the reality is here, one centralized exchange which will mass millions of Americans and ease of access. What they're going to do, they're going to look for the next one. It always happens. So yeah, be mindful. There's only about probably 5 to 10 that you'd want to put your money into. The rest of them are shit. But that's just because it's an emerging market. Pick the obvious and you probably win. But what we've done here, you've got ordinals, for example, which has brought NFTs to the world of Bitcoin. That's important. You've then got runes, which is bringing meme coins and tokenization natively on the Bitcoin layer. Huge. It isn't vaporware. It's live. It's real people. And one more important thing, they're minted from inception and they do not have VCs or absolute knobheads that are selling on you, which is important. Now, I want to be real with you. I want to be fully straight. I've seen pumps that'll turn $100 into $10,000 in this ecosystem very, very quickly. It's happened a few times. Quite a lot, actually. But I've also seen the opposite. There is also rug pulls that you couldn't sell fast enough. This is one thing that's important to note here. You need to be wary. Now, there is, and I'll show you Billy for example here. If you go back in time on this bad boy, you can see how mental these charts are. Now, let me just dull this down into dumb language. You are not so much trading here in dollars, you are trading in Satoshis. Yes, it's mental. So they are worth sats. This is why I like it. It's my energy because it is going back to the old school vibe. But nothing's really happening fully yet to make you go, okay, a minute. But as you can imagine, all the news and the protocols that are coming beneath it with liquidity layers and market making, it's probably going to start ramping up if we get developments that are going to allow more and more liquidity to come into the market, which is important, right? Now, this is the information. I'm not saying this to be bullish for the clicks or anything like that. I'm not. But a lot of people are asking me, what is my risky play? And they are Bitcoin runes. Simple as that. I've said about it many, many times. 5% of my portfolio is basically runes. I've got it in my DCA account as well. But I want to show you that there's real gains, but also real risks here. This chart proves it in just one. Look at how fast that went up. Look at how fast it goes down, right? Majority of these runes are scams, but there is some real gems out there. This is one of the most obvious ones out there. But what people tend to do, and I know this happens, they go and find the random shitty ones and they'll go, oh, look at this. Some do moon. What you need to look for is basically the tick. The tick is a verification symbol that amasses and tells you that they are the real asset based of volume and the amount of holders over a period of time. What tends to happen is you tend to get something like Waddle, for example, and someone will make another version of it, but they'll mistype it or there'll be a little bit of a discrepancy here. Be important to make a note of it, just saying. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. So we could talk about the past. So one of my riskier plays was BIP. It's still an active community, by the way. Went up to like nearly 30 sats. Now it's down to 1. You know, if this goes back up to like 12 or 13 sats, there's a lot of money to be made there. Just saying. Very, very risky. But they do crash, as you can imagine. Now, just to plug my Patreon, there's some absolute lunatics in my DGen chat who are heavy Bitcoin. Heavy maximalist Bitcoin, runes, ordinals, the lot. The amount of alpha in there is ridiculous. If you want some, go and get it. Now, in terms of what to look for, now this is kind of obvious in a way, right? You've got to look for a community. How big is the community? What are the mentions like? Are they active? Is it real? Are they all that? Get the idea, right? It's important, okay? The next bit is obviously build their credibility. Were they active during the bull and the bear markets? Have they been around for a while? And you want the ones that are actually around, realistically. And with a community that is active, that have been around for a while, had multiple little cycles, that's important because they survive. But also, the one thing what we don't have to worry about here is tokenomics, which is amazing. Is it real? Does it have the tokens available for it to happen? Is there one holder of everything, for example, is the only thing you have to worry about here, more to the point? Because when we talk about runes from inception versus, say, an altcoin, altcoins tend to have many, many VCs or key opinion leaders, whatever it may be, in there, which dilute the price. These, they don't. They're minted from inception. They get sold at some point, they get rebought, and it's a fair launch to the point. But more importantly, does the meme do something? Well, some of these are related to the ordinal side of it, the community of the ordinal, which is important. But as I've alluded to it, a lot of these runes are 99% fast food. Yeah, you want to look for the ones that are building slowly and nicely in terms of like Dog, for example, getting the tier 1 listings, $1 billion cat in terms of the events, Magic Internet Money, which is the most obvious meme in crypto. If you don't know that, don't know what you're doing. You get the idea. Now, if anyone is interested in buying these, which you don't have to, as I say, no obligation, of course, I'm not telling you what to do and what not to do, but ultimately I'm just telling you what I think the most undervalued ecosystem is. The first website you can go to is Magic Eden. It's not the best. It can be a bit clunky, but I personally just like it and use it because I think the app's all right, but not everyone agrees with me. The next best opportunity at the minute in terms of getting them for simplicity would be on the native wallet of Bitcoin on Xverse, which will be using some very good technology soon with Starknet, which will hopefully make things a lot faster and more efficient with the lot side of it. You've then got a site called DotSwap, which is not related to Polkadot, by the way, just saying. This, again, similar sort of situation. It's got the money market liquidity side of it, which will make it much better. If you just click on Runes Market here, it's all there, so to speak, as you can see, and you can see the different stats between each one. You've also got OKX Wallet as well if you so wish to use that. You don't have to, but as I say, it's all there, which is very, very important. So it's getting easier. And the thing that will blow your mind very, very soon as well is the fact that a lot of these tokens are on Solana as a wrap token. So guess what? You can use the likes of Slingshot to do it too. So yeah, this could be the hidden bull run that you may miss out on. It could well be within the Bitcoin ecosystem, completely in Satoshi's on-chain, which is baffling. And it could have the early Ethereum and early Solana, energy, so to speak, but more importantly, built with the security layer of Bitcoin and the branding of Bitcoin, which is pretty important. So the next crypto narrative could be written block by block. Don't fade it, but also don't FOMO blind either. If you are genuinely struggling to understand any of this, ask in the comments below.